912 Sports, Southeast Georgia's #1 source for high school sports. Welcome to On Air with 912 Sports, a weekly look at high school sports in Southeast Georgia, featuring coaches, players, and journalists who know the ins and outs of prep athletics. Presented by the award-winning writers and broadcasters of 912 Sports, and sponsored by Coastal Pines Technical College, Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with Crossway Realty, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, Prime South Bank, and Gibson Animal Clinic. Now, this week's headline.
The 912 teams were 3 for 3 this past Friday night. Hello, everybody. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports. Thanks for joining us here with On Air with 912 Sports. Tonight, I'll look back at the big Pierce County victory over the Peach County Trojans this past Friday night. We'll have the Rosses recap, and then Kevin and I will preview the remaining 3 games here in the 912. It's Appleton, Pierce, and Swainsboro all in the Final Four. All that and more on tonight's On Air with 912 Sports. Thanks for watching.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
This is the Ross recap on 912 Sports for the quarterfinal round of the GHSA state playoffs. We first start in Double-A. It was Swainsboro that moved on in overtime over Northeast, 12-9 in overtime. This was a game that started 2-2 as both teams received points for safeties. Then they were tied 9-9 going into the end of regulation. And in overtime, Swainsboro got it done to move to the Final Four by defeating Northeast 12-9 in overtime. An exciting ball game there. Swainsboro will move on to host Fitzgerald in the semifinals on Friday night. Class AAA, defending champion Pierce County beats Peach County 35-30. They move on to their second consecutive Final Four and will they will host Carver of Atlanta, who beat Burke County 46-14. So Pierce County 2 wins away from repeating as state champion. And also in AAA, Appling County went on the road to the Brickyard in Thompson to beat the Bulldogs 21-7. They move on to face Cedar Grove on the road in Atlanta in the Final Four, who beat Crisp County 28-6. So 2 Region 5 AAA teams taking on 2 Region 1 AAA teams in the state Final Four, with the right to move on to Georgia State and the state championship games that are played at Turner Field the second weekend of the month. So big games in the semifinals. We will see if we can have an all-Region 1 AAA state championship and if Swainsboro can move on to the AA state title game as well. I'm Robbie Ross. This has been the Ross Recap on 912 Sports.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Call on us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive in Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
The Pierce County Bears are in the Final Four. Hello, everybody. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, and I had the honor of going to Bearville this past Friday night to watch the Pierce County Bears take on the Peach County Trojans. The Bears come away winners 35-30 on the night. Don't let that score fool you. It was a dominating performance by the Pierce County Bears. Really showed up and showed out all night long. Offense was really clicking. DJ Bell, another 5 touchdowns on the night. We got a clip from one of them right here for you. The offensive line blocked well all night. Did their job. Just a masterful performance. The defense with another strong performance. I know that it looks like there's 30 on the board, but 7 of those points were on the offense on a fumble right before halftime. Really, defense only gave up 10 points in the first half. So defensive line got after it. Defensive backs played very, very well. The crowd was into it all night, but just a huge win for the Pierce County Bears, moving them on to the Final Four. Now, I've got a big contest coming up this Friday night. It's going to be right back in the friendly confines of Bearville as Carver of Atlanta comes calling. Both of these teams, Pierce and Carver, both 11-2 on the season. Carver having lost a little bit earlier to a big 7A school, West Forsyth, and also Cedar Grove, who's on the other side of the bracket there in 3A. But come in with a lot of athletes. Got a quarterback that moved in during the middle of the season from Grayson. Really has added another dimension there to Carver and have been able to put up some points, not only with his legs, but through the air as well. So, but another big contest coming up this Friday night in Bearville. It will be for an opportunity for the Pierce County Bears to defend their state champion. They win, they're in. They get a chance to go to Atlanta and play for it all again one more time. So Bears fans, pack Bearville Friday night. Let's get out there and cheer these boys on. They're very deserving. They're playing great football, and let's get another win there Friday night. Appreciate everybody watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke reporting.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
And then there were still 3. Hello, everybody. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, joined as always by podcast host and writer Kevin Price. Kevin, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm good, Sean. Yeah, I think we both actually got that right, that we probably would still have 3 teams left, and all of our 912 teams that we cover in this area did make it through to the semifinals. So we did get something right this year. But I'm looking forward to this weekend, Sean. 2 weekends to go in high school football, and, of course, a big weekend on the college level as well as we get down to conference championship weekend, of course.
Yeah, as the old saying goes, this is where the rubber meets the road right here, Kevin. Got a lot on the line, a lot to play for, and congratulations to all 3 of the teams, Appleton, Pierce, and Swainsboro, for making it through to that Final Four bracket. And we're going to start off with the Appleton at Cedar Grove game. Appleton coming into the contest 12-1. Their only losses to Pierce County this year. Cedar Grove coming into the contest 10-3. A loss at Lowndes, a big, huge 7A school. A loss at Colquitt, another big, huge 7A school. And really an inexplicable loss to Sandy Creek, a region opponent of Cedar Grove's, and they dropped that game late. Matter of fact, I think they were up in that game at halftime. I don't know if they pulled their starters, knowing that really the game didn't matter exactly what happened, but they did wind up losing to Sandy Creek in that game. Appleton, Kevin, got to be road warriors again, buddy. It's hard to believe they've, only lost 1 game, but it put them in that 2 seed, and every time they play a 1, they got to go on the road. Well, guess what they did past Friday night? They went to Thompson, Georgia. They handled the Bulldogs. They come away with a 21-7 victory, and now they got to go on the road and play the Cedar Grove Saints. Don't think they're going to be facing the same animal they faced last week in Thompson. Thompson's a really good team, was undefeated on the season, but this Cedar Grove team is pretty special. if you've got enough talent to play with Lowndes and to play with Colquitt and be in both of those games, even though you lost them as a 3A school, you've got some dudes. And it's going to be an interesting matchup when the Pirates tie up with the Saints on Friday night.
Yeah, Sean, well, the assignments get tougher, as you know. And, of course, Cedar Grove will be a different animal this week for Appling. And you know, Cedar Grove's kind of like the New York Yankees or the Duke Blue Devils. You know, you either like them or you don't.
Right.
And, you know, they're loaded with talent every year, and they're loaded again. And, you know, I guess maybe before the season started, they would have been, you know, one of the teams that, you know, certainly a lot of people would have been picking. And, you know, here they are 2 games away from the state championship, just like our 2 teams, Appling and Pierce, and, of course, Carver, Atlanta in that other game with Pierce. So, you know, when you look at this game, Sean, I mean, obviously on paper, it looks like Cedar Grove, you know, may have more talent from top to bottom, but we all know with our 2 teams, Appling and Pierce, it starts with defense. And I think if Appling is going to win this game, that's where you start, on the defensive side of the ball again. I mean, when you look at this Cedar Grove team, when you look at their scores, there's no doubt that they can roll up the points, they can roll up the yards, they can put the ball in the end zone. You mentioned some of the games that, you know, they played. I mean, they lost to Lowndes, a 7A school now, but they rolled up the points, 45-38. They lost that ball game. You're right. That Sandy Creek game's a little bit of a mystery. Sandy Creek was a playoff team. Of course, they lost to Dawson County, you know, this year, a game we talked about. But Sandy Creek was a playoff team, and they lost that game 40-35. So, again, a high-scoring ball game. So we see that they can put up the points. Now, I kind of mentioned before we came on, how good really is Lowndes' own defense? Now, they are a 7A school, but how good are they on defense? So we're going to find out if Appling's defense can hold up to this high-powered Cedar Grove offense. When you look at the 2 teams, I mean, Appling's given up 119 points on the year. Cedar Grove's given up 157. Scoring averages, Cedar Grove scored almost 44 points a game. Appling has scored like 34.5. But, again, if Appling's going to win the game, they're going to have to slow down Cedar Grove, maybe keep this game in the upper 20s, lower 30s to have a chance to win. Then, of course, they're going to have to find a way to score against an athletic defense as well. But I think the key for Appling is to slow down that offense and maybe play a little more ball control than they're used to keep that high-powered Cedar Grove's offense on the sideline.
Yeah, their best defense, Kevin, in this game may be their offense, keeping that Cedar Grove offense over there on the sidelines, spectating for over there. You know, you look at these 2 teams, they played almost all of Region 7 or 1-7A. These guys lost to Lowndes and Colquitt, and Appling was able to beat Tiff. Camden's the only team out of that region that these 2 guys didn't play. But again, it's going to be an interesting matchup. I'm not saying that Appling can't win. I just think it's a little bit taller task to beat Cedar Grove than it was to beat Thompson last week. But we'll see how things shake out. Staying in that same AAA classification, Kevin, we've got Carver of Atlanta coming to Bearville to take on the Pierce County Bears. Pierce County 11-2 on the season, only losing to Raven and Brunswick early first game of the season. Carver of Atlanta's lost 2 games as well, lost to a big 7A West Forsyth school, and lost to the same Cedar Grove team that we just talked about this playing Appling on Friday night. So this Carver of Atlanta team is not, they're no stranger to playing stiff competition. Hey, but neither is the Pierce County Bears. I mean, the Pierce County Bears has got a laundry list of playoff teams that they played this year and have already beaten. Big win there Friday night in Bearville over a solid perennial powerhouse in Peach County. I think Coach reminded me that Peach County has played for a state title 9 times since the early 2000s or since 2004. That's pretty good odds. It's almost every other year or every 2.5 years these guys are playing for a state title. Pierce was able to handle that game. Scoreboard said 35-30 at the end of the game, but the score was not indicative to how dominant Pierce County was in that game. Carver of Atlanta's got a big quarterback that moved in mid-season, making air quotes here, moved in mid-season from Grayson, started the season as a starter at Grayson. For whatever reason, he fell into a rotation-type situation. Didn't want to be in a rotation situation. and found his way to Carver of Atlanta and found a spot to play. So, and he has been a difference maker, Kevin. The games that they lost was pre this quarterback. He's added a dimension. He's got an arm on him. He can spin the ball, relatively well. They've got a really, really good running game. Got a couple, really good backs. They got like a thunder and lightning type backfield. Got a big bruiser kid that's 250 that people just bounce off of, and then they got that scat back that can really go and can hit you for some long runs. So listen, Pierce is going to have their hands full beating Carver of Atlanta on Friday night. But the great thing about it is they get to do it in the friendly confines of Bearville, and for that reason, I'm going to give a little bit of an advantage to Pierce County, in this game.
Yeah, well, going back to the win against Peach County, I mean, we talked about it, last week when we were previewing the Pierce-Peach game. Peach County's a program, much like a Calhoun or somebody like that. And so Pierce beat a program last week, and Pierce, Sean, is becoming a program.
Yes, sir.
I mean, they're the defending state champions, and this is their third time in the semifinals in 4 years, I guess. They went, 4 years ago under Jason Strickland, missed, I guess, what was it, in 2019, but of course went in 2020 and now again in 2021. And you're right, Sean, they're right back in Bearville where they feel right at home. And we were over there last year in this semifinal round when they won in dramatic fashion, and then went on up to Georgia State and got it done there for the state championship against Oconee. And so all this is familiar to Pierce. So Carver Atlanta has to come into their house. Now, Carver Atlanta, not all that long ago, Sean, I didn't really realize this. I think back in 2017 was the last time they made it this deep into the playoffs in the semifinals. They were a 5A school, so I don't know exactly what happened for them to drop 2 classifications down in, I guess, a 4-year period. But here they are now in 3A. But, Sean, when you look at the numbers in this game, they really add up to where things are basically about even. Both teams are 11-2. Pierce and Max Prep's rankings is ranked 2. Carver Atlanta's ranked 3. When you look at the scoring averages, Carver averages 31.7. Pierce averages 31.3. Now, the defense, when you look at the defense, there's the difference. Carver has given up 197 points on the season. Pierce has given up 103. Now, when you look at the offense, they average about 450 yards, and their quarterback that you mentioned, the Bowens kid, has accounted for about 255 of those yards. So, obviously, he's the go-to guy, the straw that stirs the drink, and he averages about 210 passing yards. Now, I looked up what he did in that game the other night, and they big played Burke County to death. He threw 3 touchdown passes, and he ran for 2, but his touchdown passes were 50, 60, and 70 yards. Now, I couldn't find out if they were the long bomb passes and somebody ran underneath them, or if they were a 5 and 10 yard pass and they went for big gains. But that's where it's going to start for Pierce, is keeping that big play potential to a minimum for this Carver Atlanta team and making them drive the football. I don't look for Carver Atlanta to be able to hit those big plays, certainly not that many of them. If they do, Pierce will be in trouble. But Pierce also has a big gun in their backfield named DJ Bell. He's much like the Bowens kid for them. I mean, he's averaging 260.5 yards a game himself, Sean. You know it. I think he gained, 250 the other night in that game. So, he can be a one-man wrecking crew just like this Bowens kid can as well. So both teams have a big gun that they can go to. I think, again, being at home and that Pierce defense might actually spell the difference for Pierce to go to Atlanta and play for a second straight state championship.
Yeah, get to defend that ring. That's kind of what they're hanging their hats on right now. And like I said, I think they got a really good shot. And Pierce does an excellent job, Kevin, of not beating themselves. They had that scoop and score that Pierce got right before halftime last Friday night. But if they can eliminate plays like that and control the turnovers and play their top of offense, I think Pierce will be fine Friday night. And I look for them to move on to Atlanta. But last year in the 9-1-2, Kevin, we've got 11-2 Fitzgerald, the Purple Hurricane, going up against the Swainsboro Tigers, who are also 11-2 on the season. Fitzgerald having lost to this Pierce team that we just talked about, and also Thomasville. And, oh, by the way, for people that don't know, Thomasville's pretty good. They just about ruled Raven County this past Friday night, which is a game that I definitely would have lost my shirt had I bet any money, because I kind of thought that this was Raven County's year, but Thomasville had other ideas. So congratulations to the Bulldogs on a big victory there against Gunner Stockton and what everybody thought was going to be the 2A champion there. But Thomasville, like I said, they had other ideas and they handled their business. But Fitzgerald, that loss to Thomasville was a region a loss. It made them a 2 seed, put them where they got to go on the road to play at Swainsboro, who's a 1 seed. We've talked about the game that they had with Jeff Davis, talking about Swainsboro and the controversial call. But the bottom line is, Kevin, they're the 1 seed. They're getting another game at home. This will be a situation where if they can win Friday night, they'll be just like Pierce last year. They'll have played every game at home before they go to Atlanta. Pierce in that same situation. If they win Friday night, will have played every game at home before they go to Atlanta. But this one, Kevin, Swainsboro's really good. Ty Adams has done an excellent job for them. But, man, this Fitzgerald team is loaded for bear as well. Big win here a couple of weeks ago against Fannin County. I thought that, Fitzgerald might have a chance to get tripped up against them, but they handled their business. So this one, I think you pretty much could flip a coin, put both names in the hat and draw them out and see which way you go. I'm pulling with my heart here for Swainsboro. I hope Coach Scott Roberts and the Tigers can find a way to get it done. They are at home, so therefore I'm going to give them that home field betting 3-point advantage there to get it done. But don't count out Tucker Pruitt and the Fitzgerald Purple Hurricanes on Friday night.
Yeah, Sean, and I kind of hate to keep harping on it, but when you look at that 15-14 game that Swainsboro won over Jeff Davis, how huge was it? Because
it's the gift that keeps on giving, Kevin.
That's exactly you're right, because that universal coin flip again went Swainsboro's way. They're on the top half of the bracket, and but I guess Fitzgerald is a number 2 seed though, right?
Right.
So had they been a 1 seed though, here's Swainsboro, I guess, would have been possibly in the right place, but. Anyway, when you look at this game, I don't know that home field is necessarily going to be a huge thing here, because you're talking about 2 South Georgia teams, and this is not necessarily going to be an overly long trip for Fitzgerald here. Again, and also Fitzgerald has been this deep in the playoffs just last year, so they're kind of in familiar territory. This is a little bit of a new environment for Swainsboro, but they seem to have handled things so far, so I don't know that they're necessarily going to be anxious or nervous or overly excited, to play in this ball game. But you never know. But of course, they're probably going to go as far as the Adams kid, their quarterback, can take them. And so far, it's been so good for Swainsboro there, and he's averaging about I think 166 yards rushing per game or so, something like that. And again, they're going to need a big game from him. But when you look at this Fitzgerald team, I mean, they're battle tested. They beat Irwin. They lost to Pierce. They also lost to Thomasville 15-8. And of course, you mentioned Thomasville beating Raven. And of course, if Thomasville and Fitzgerald were to win, that would be a region matchup there for the state championship. Fitzgerald went on the road last week and beat a Putnam team that was sort of on a Cinderella ride, but I think undefeated on the season. So, they were riding high, and they went into their backyard and beat them, and that was a little bit of a long trip. So, the edge might go to Fitzgerald in terms of experience and maybe being a little more battle tested and maybe playing a little bit more of a tougher schedule. But this should be a well of a ball game, and I really feel like it could go either way. But maybe you give a slight nod in this one to Fitzgerald just because they've been here before. But then, the pendulum might sway back the other way because Swainsboro is at home and they seem to be handling things so far. So, this could be a coin flip that could go either way, and we'll just see what happens.
Now, well, if you go back to Jason Strickland's time at Fitzgerald, they played for several state titles, didn't win any of them, but played for several. I think if I remember what I read correctly, this is the first time since 2002 that Swainsboro has been to the semifinals, and that year they actually won the state championship. I can't remember if they were a 2 or a 3 or a single A school at the time, but they won it back in 2000, and I think that is the last time that they've made it to the semi. So definitely got to give the experience and the edge on experience to Fitzgerald in this game. But like I said, we'll see how this one shakes out. But, hey, y'all stick around. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come right back here. We're going to run through all the brackets since there's only 4 games in each category, each classification, and give you our predictions on who's going to win and maybe a little bit of why. But stick around. We'll be right back after these words.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, joined here by podcast host and writer Kevin Price. And we're just going to go through the brackets, Kevin. There's only 2 games in each classification. We're going to give you our best guess at who's going to win the game. But we'll start off in 7A and go down. First game in 7A, we've got Milton at Walton. I'm going to go with Walton on this game, only because I know Ed Dudley used to be a coach there. Rocky Hidalgo used to be a coach there. I know Milton on paper might be a little bit better school, but since those guys are connected with Walton, I'm going to pull for Walton in this game.
Okay, that's fine with the Dudley deal, but not with the Coach Rock deal. Now, hey, you got to stop it right there now, Sean. Hey, Walton's gotten hot here lately, and they're really rolling in the playoffs. But Milton was preseason number 1. They're looking strong right now. I'll go with Milton just to go opposite you. Not opposite Coach Dudley, but opposite Coach Rock as well.
All right, moving on. The other game is Grayson at Collins Hill. Collins Hill's ranked in the top 10 in the nation in 3 or 4 different polls. They put on a clinic last week in Lowndes County at the Concrete Palace, come all the way down here and broke the Vikings' hearts because they're a really, really, really good football team. I like what Adam Carter's done at Grayson. They're a couple years removed from, state championship. But I don't think they got the chops to beat Collins Hill, and I'm going to go Collins Hill all the way on this one, Kevin.
Yeah, Grayson's rounding into form, and that's exactly what Coach Carter said. It might take them a while. They're a defending champs, but I think their title defense ends right here. Collins Hill goes on and plays for the title.
Yep. All right. Moving on to 6A. 6A, we got the same team that beat both Glenn and Brunswick going at one another. We got Decula at Langston Hughes. I tell you, I think Langston Hughes, it might be their year, Kevin. This is the first time they played in the semis in a long time. I think they're a little bit better team than Decula is. So therefore, I'm going to go with Langston Hughes to win this game.
It's unfortunate, Sean. The bracket really fell where Brunswick possibly could have been in this ball game at home because
at home.
The top of the bracket is where Decula is, and they put a beat down on Johns Creek the other night. And I would like to think that Brunswick maybe could have done the same thing, but we're going to stop right there with that. But Hughes is loaded for bear. I know that. Coach Rock knows that. He found that out in the first round. He knew before he went into that game that he was fighting an uphill battle. Hughes wins this game fairly comfortably. They move on to the state title game.
Yep. And now you got Carrollton playing the University of Beaufort.
Yeah.
And I learned a long time ago you don't bet against the University of Beaufort, and therefore I'm going to pick the Beaufort Wolves to win this ball game.
They shut out Lee the other night in a rematch of the state championship game from last year that went to overtime. And Carrollton had a heck of a game against Westlake the other night.
Yeah.
Big
win for Carrollton.
Yeah, Carrollton's going to be overmatched in this one. Beaufort is going to play Hughes, and that could be an interesting game on paper. We'll talk about that one next week, but Beaufort moves on.
Exactly. All right, going down to 5A, we've got Creekside is going to be at Warner Robins, and we've got Blessed Trinity is going to be at Calhoun. We'll start off with the Creekside and Warner Robins game. Listen, Warner Robins, with the exception of the night they came to the Swamp, has played lights out all year long. Ware County was able to get them. but I don't think that Creekside has enough weapons in the toolbox to do it. I'm going to take Warner Robins to win this game and defend their state title next week.
Yeah, I was questioning whether Creekside would get past Coffee, and if they did, I knew Creekside could make a run, and that's what's happened. Warner Robins, I don't know that they're as good now as they were at mid-season, but I still think they're good enough to win this whole thing. Warner Robins moves on.
Yep. And moving right along, you got Blessed Trinity at Calhoun. Blessed Trinity's a team that struggled. Kevin had a couple of losses early in the season. Everybody was like, oh, they're not as good as everybody thought they were. They're not as good as they were, a couple of years ago. But here they are. They just keep winning and keep winning and keep winning. I think they're going to run into a buzzsaw in that Calhoun team. I saw them up close and personal. They got some dudes that can play football. Got a very, very good, underrated quarterback, got good receivers, got a big, strong running back, and got some guys on both lines of scrimmage. I'm going to pick Calhoun to beat Blessed Trinity in this game and play for a title.
I would agree with what you said about Blessed Trinity, and I'll agree with what you said about Calhoun. I'll trust you on this one, Sean. I'll go with Calhoun as well.
All right, sounds good. Moving down to 4A. 4A, first game up is Carver of Columbus, not to be confused with Carver of Atlanta, but Carver of Columbus against Cedartown. Cedartown is the old stomping grounds for our favorite running back for the University of Georgia, Nick Chubb. They're getting to the semifinals, I think, for the first time in a long, long time. I think they'll find a way to get this one done, and I think they get Carver on Friday night. I'm going to go with Cedartown.
And just another footnote, Carver of Columbus is where Dale McGee, who played at Auburn and is the running backs coach for Georgia, used to coach high school ball at. But I'll go with Cedartown as well.
Other game there in 4A, you've got Benedictine at North Oconee. You got a chance, Kevin, to see Benedictine last week. I don't know if that was your first time. I got a chance to see him up close and personal. We both made a comment off air. Listen, this Holden Garner kid can spin it. He's probably the best pure passing quarterback that I've seen come out of South Georgia in a long time. As a matter of fact, I made the comment to you. I think he's the most improved player in this area, or really the entire state that I've saw play personally last year to this year. But I think Benedictine gets it done. I think this is their year.
Yeah, well, I saw him last year against Brunswick, and I could see that he could throw the ball, but he might not hit the broadside of a brick barn. But this year he can hit the broadside of that brick barn right where he wants to. And I did see that game the other night. I went up with some friends of mine to see the game in Memorial Stadium in Savannah against Marist, a great football team, another program, Sean. And Benedictine won a well of a game there, 24-21. He played well. So did the number 4 kid, Thomas. Benedictine has a really good shot to win Class 4A. I think the game is back in Savannah again, and they've already beaten North Oconee pretty bad. Footnote there, though, North Oconee is where Glen Academy's former coach, Terry Tooley, used to coach. He had a hard time getting by the University of Beaufort, or maybe he would have gotten this North Oconee team to the semifinals before now, but this is their first semi trip. But it ends right there in Savannah. DC moves on.
Well, Kevin, you almost probably saw what would be, on paper, a state title game last week between Benedictine and Marist, just like I did between Ware and Calhoun, and just like the people that saw Warner Robins play Creekside. All of those games probably, if you had a voting system, would have been, a championship-type atmosphere, definitely with that game between Benedictine and Marist last week. So, all right, well, we've already went through 3A, so there's no sense in rehashing that. We're both picking with our hearts there, and we're going to pull for the 9-1-2 teams. But getting down to 2A, we've got that team that we talked a little bit about, or we actually talked about one of those games, so we'll only talk about the other one. Callaway versus Thomasville. Kevin, if you ask me what the biggest surprise was from Friday night, clearly it was Thomasville. Not that Thomasville won the ball game against Rabun County, but in the fashion that they did, because Rabun County was never in that ball game. Never. Thomasville took the field. They dominated Rabun County for the first snap of the ball game, and it was over before it ever started. So I don't know if maybe they got some bad food at Golden Corral or what the deal was for Rabun County, but Thomasville showed up, handled their business, and they're moving on. And right now they look like the team to beat in 2A.
Yeah, and Thomasville fans, if you've been watching social media, are proud of that victory, and they should be.
They should be.
And they're letting everybody know that, hey, they need to be talking about the Thomasville Bulldogs and to quit talking about Gunnar Stockton. But listen, Gunnar Stockton's a great kid and a great quarterback, and that I feel sorry for him And I feel sorry for Raven because, you want to win when you have a guy like that pulling the trigger for your offense. And who knows, I don't really know much about what they have coming back, but it was there for the taking for this Raven team, and Thomasville took it from them. And based on that performance last week, they got to take advantage of this now, Sean. I mean, they got to move on or that goes for naught. And I think they'll do it. I got Thomasville moving on to the state title game.
Yep, Thomasville Bulldogs all the way. All right, we'll jump in here at Single A Public. Single A Public, we've got Irwin County going to be at home versus Wilcox County. Wilcox is a team that put Charlton out in the first round, and you didn't really hear a lot about Wilcox all year long until they've hit the playoffs. Now here they are in the semifinals. The only bad thing about it is they got to go to Irwin County and Osceola and play the Indians, man. But listen, Wilcox, this is the home of help me out, Kevin. The guy
Marshall. You stole my thunder, man.
I know, man. Nick Marshall, home of Nick Marshall. But you know what? Nick Marshall ain't going to be playing Friday.
That's right.
And therefore,
right out of my mouth.
Exactly. Therefore, I'm going to take the Indians to win this game.
Yeah, and Buddy Nobles is smiling up there in heaven. Irwin County moves on, Sean.
Yeah, that's an easy pick there. Then you've got the hammer of Maurice Freeman there in Quitman. He's got to go on the road over to Metter, who's playing some really, really good football the last couple of years. But it seems like, just like last year, I thought Metter had a chance to win it all. They wound up laying an egg. I don't know that they'll do that again this year, but I'm going to go with Maurice and the hammer, and I think you're going to have an all Region 1, I think it's Region 1A, I think is what it is, championship between Irwin and Brooks County.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, this is going to be a good one. It's going to be up in Metter, and everything's usually better in Metter, like they say. But nothing against Metter, but Maurice used to coach over here at Brunswick, and I would like to see him get it done and get a rematch with Irwin. And he's got some good things going out there on Facebook right now. I think one of Brooks County's sayings is we always hunt, and they're asking their fans to show up in camouflage. So
all right.
I got a good feeling they're going to have a good crowd over there, and there will probably be a lot of camo coming over from Quitman, and they'll be dressed and ready to go hunting on Saturday already. And then also he said, don't meet us there, beat us there. And they'll probably do it. They'll probably be full on the visitor side before it even gets dark over there in Metter before 6 p.m. on Friday. So I'm sure Quitman's going to turn out and show out, and Maurice Freeman's got a well of a team, and I hope Brooks County can get it done and go play that other team from the region of Doom, Irwin, and let's have a rematch, and let's see if Maurice Freeman can bring that hammer and maybe finally beat Irwin and get over the hump against his nemesis.
Yep, it'll be interesting to see. Going to be a great game. All right, we'll move on to 1A Private. 1A Private, we got Eagles Landing Christian versus Trinity Christian. Listen, Trinity Christian is the fashionable pick. Everybody's saying they're great. Everybody's been pointing to them. But listen, it's just like Ric Flair says, if you want to beat a man, you got to beat the man. And I got news for you. The man in Single A Private is Eagles Landing Christian. So Trinity Christian is going to get their chance. I don't think they get it done. I'm going to take Elka to win this ball game.
Well, you saw Elka, and they over there in the railroad town of Waycross, and Ware County beat them. But Trinity Christian, was a Geisa school not all that long ago, and they are doing well in GHSA. So I'll just go against you to have fun. I'll go with Trinity to march on to the state championship game.
All right. And in the other bracket, we've got Fellowship Christian versus Prince Avenue Christian. The old boy, Georgia roaming the sidelines. He's not going to be playing Friday night in Brock Vandergrift, but this is his old school. And here they are, Kevin. This is actually Coach Herron's old stomping grounds. He was there for a tour of duty there as well. And just so I've got some association with that school. Nothing against Fellowship Christian. They may be the better team, but I'm going to go with Prince Avenue to go on the road and get this one done.
Now, what's your association with Prince Avenue?
I'm sorry?
What's your association with Prince Avenue? Did I miss something?
Because of Coach Herron being there and because of Brock Vandergrift being there.
Oh, okay,
and I am an Athens resident for 10+ years. So.
Oh, okay. I spent some time there, 4 years. Probably should have tried to stretch it out and spend more. That was probably a mistake on my part. But how long were you in school during that 10 years?
Hey, now that's not important, kid. That's not important. let's just leave it. It wasn't the whole entire 10 years.
You don't want to give Evan any ideas, do you? All right, but hey, talking about got to beat the man to beat a man. Well, Prince Avenue did beat Trinity last year, but they had the man Brock Vandergrift to do it with. But I'll say it's going to be a rematch of the state championship game last year. I'll say Prince Avenue wins and sets up a rematch against Trinity Christian.
All right. Should be a good one. Well, that'll do it for our predictions. Hey, appreciate everybody watching the show. We'll be right back here next week. Hopefully, we'll still have some people playing. If nothing else, we'll be talking about the championship games in detail as they'll be going on Friday and Saturday in Atlanta, not at Mercedes-Benz, but at the old Turner Field Stadium. I don't know what the name of the stadium is now, but it's got
some Park or something like that.
Yeah, it's
home field.
Exactly.
Call it Turner Field as well.
Exactly. It's the old Turner Field when you're as old as I am. So
that's right.
That's exactly what it is. But we'll be right back here then. But until then, may all your check marks go in the win column. Thanks for watching, everybody.
This has been On Air with 912 Sports. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week with more coverage of Southeast Georgia high school sports. On Air with 912 Sports has been brought to you by Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, Prime South Bank, Gibson Animal Clinic, Coastal Pines Technical College, Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, and Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with Crossway Realty. This has been a presentation of 912 Sports, Southeast Georgia's #1 source for high school sports.